Welcome to Power to Unlocked. In today's video, Machiavelli's shocking dark truth about some women men must know. What if I told you that the woman you're chasing, the one you believe is gentle, fragile and innocent, might actually be playing a game so ancient, so calculated and so deeply embedded in power that even Niccolo Machiavelli himself warned about it over 500 years ago? This isn't about blaming women, it's not about hate, it's about truth. A truth so uncomfortable, so unsettling, that most people refuse to speak it out loud. But tonight, we will. Machiavelli, the father of realpolitik, the man whose writings taught kings how to rule, understood something dark about human nature. He believed that people, both men and women, are not always driven by love, honesty, or loyalty. He believed power was the ultimate motivator, and when it came to certain women, he noticed something strange, something dangerous, something most men still ignore. We're not talking about the average woman living her life with kindness and grace. We're talking about a type, a pattern, a shadow. A certain kind of woman who understands, perhaps better than anyone, how to manipulate, control and conquer without ever raising her voice. A woman who smiles with warmth but strikes with cold strategy. And the worst part, most men never see it coming until it's too late. Have you ever wondered why some men, even the strongest, the smartest, the most respected, fall apart after a relationship? Why kingdoms have fallen, empires have crumbled, and great leaders have vanished from history, all because of her. Machiavelli did, and in his private writings, he shared cryptic but powerful insights about certain types of women who don't seek love, they seek dominance, who don't offer partnership, they offer a trap disguised as passion. And once you're in, once your guard is down, the game begins. This video is not just a story, it's a mirror, a warning, a key. We'll explore the psychological tactics, the emotional traps, and the chilling signs Machiavelli described centuries ago. We'll show you real-life examples of powerful men, modern and ancient, who were destroyed by the very women they loved most. And we'll reveal how Machiavelli's teachings can protect today's man from falling into the same spiral of confusion, betrayal, and emotional destruction. Because if you're a man who's ever said, "I gave her everything and she still left," or "she changed after I got close," or "I don't even recognize myself anymore," then this isn't just a video for you, it's a lifeline. But here's the thing, the darkest part of Machiavelli's truth isn't about them, it's about you, about why you're drawn to this energy, about the part of your own mind that lets it all happen. And once we show you that, well, you'll never look at love or yourself the same way again. So before we dive into the cold lessons Machiavelli left behind, let me ask you one question. What if the person you thought was your soulmate was actually your silent enemy? Stay with me. The truth begins now. You see, Machiavelli didn't just study politics. He studied people. He understood that power doesn't always show up wearing armor or carrying a sword. Sometimes it wears perfume and whispers in your ear. He watched how men in high places, kings, dukes, warriors, were brought to their knees not on the battlefield, but in private chambers. Not by their enemies, but by the very women they trusted with their secrets, their hearts, their futures. He wrote about how appearances deceive, how some women, again, not all but some, know exactly how to play a role so perfectly, it's almost art. They make you feel seen, valued, even worshipped. But behind that gentle touch is a strategy, not love, not loyalty, control. Machiavelli warned that the most dangerous kind of manipulation doesn't look dangerous at all. In fact, it feels good. That's the trick. That's why men fall, because the danger is wrapped in softness. The red flags don't look like threats. They look like charm, attention, passion. Until one day you wake up and realize You've been shaped, molded, even used, and you didn't see it coming. And this isn't just theory. History is full of these women, figures who rose quietly in the background only to pull strings that changed the course of entire nations. Cleopatra, Catherine de' Medici. Even in modern times, look closely. Some of the most shocking scandals, downfalls, betrayals, you'll find the same pattern. A man with everything to lose, a woman who knew how to move in the shadows, and a final result that ends with silence, isolation, or worse. But here's where it gets even more unsettling. Machiavelli believed the real danger wasn't just in what these women did, it was in how little men understood about themselves. Why do some men over and over again chase this type? Why are we drawn to what we know might hurt us? Why does power wrapped in beauty feel so irresistible? That's the part most never talk about, because it's easier to blame the outside than to confront the inside. It's easier to say, "She fooled me," than to ask, "Why did I ignore the signs?" But Machiavelli wanted men to look deeper, to see not just what's in front of them, but what's within them. And that's where the real war begins, not out there, but inside your own mind. Because once you uncover this truth, there's no going back. And in the next part, we'll peel back the mask completely. It always starts the same way. A look, a smile, the way she laughs at your jokes like no one ever has. She makes you feel chosen, special. And somewhere deep down, in a part of you that even you don't talk about, you start to believe she might be different. That maybe this one isn't like the others. But Machiavelli warned us, the ones who seem the most perfect are often the most dangerous. Not because they're evil, but because they understand power in ways most men never will. Here's the main conflict. You think you're choosing her, but she's already chosen you. You believe you're leading, but she's 5 moves ahead. It's not about the relationship, it's about the control, the emotional chess game, the unspoken rules where she pulls back just enough to make you chase harder, the compliments that feel like validation, followed by silence that feels like punishment. You don't know it yet, but she's shaping your behavior, your decisions, even your identity. And what's more chilling, you think this is love. Meanwhile, your friends start noticing a change. You laugh less. You second-guess yourself. You're quieter, more anxious. But you defend her, always, because in your mind, she's still the prize. You just haven't earned her yet. And that's the trap. Machiavelli knew that the deepest kind of manipulation is when a man feels like he's losing something he never even truly had. Now imagine this happening not just in love, but in business, politics, even leadership. The man who seems to have it all, brought down by one blind spot he refuses to see. A woman who knew exactly how to study his weaknesses and use them. But this isn't just about her. It's about the truth men are scared to admit. And the price of not admitting it is higher than most realize. The moment of collapse doesn't come with thunder. It comes quietly, like a whisper. You start waking up and wondering why you feel hollow even though she's still beside you. You feel like a stranger in your own skin, second-guessing every word, every move, afraid that one wrong sentence will push her away. You're no longer leading, you're reacting, and somehow, without noticing when it happened, you've become a man shaped by someone else's silence, moods, and emotional distance. Machiavelli saw this play out in the courts of Florence, where powerful men, brilliant, accomplished, fell to pieces not because of armies, but because they lost control over their own minds. He called it a slow erosion of will, a man who forgets his purpose, distracted by emotional storms he can't name. And when the woman at the center knows exactly how to fuel those storms, when she knows when to give just enough attention to keep you hooked and when to pull away just enough to make you question your worth, it becomes a cycle, a spiral. This is where the tension explodes inside, even if nothing explodes outside. You feel it in your chest. You start thinking, is it me? Am I not enough? You tell yourself to try harder, be better, give more, but the more you give, the more control you lose. And still, you don't leave, because you're not chasing love anymore. You're chasing clarity. You're chasing that feeling she gave you in the beginning, hoping it'll return. But Machiavelli warned, once power is given away, it's rarely returned willingly. And then one day, she changes again, warmer, softer, as if nothing ever happened. And just when you start to breathe again, that's when it happens. That's when everything breaks. It starts with something small, a message she forgot to delete, a look on her face when a certain name pops up on her phone. You weren't even trying to catch anything, but your gut, it never lies. And suddenly, the foundation you were barely holding together starts to crack wide open. You begin to notice patterns, moments where her words didn't quite match her actions, times when her affection came right after you questioned her, or just when you were about to walk away. It all starts to feel calculated, not spontaneous, not real. And then it hits you. Maybe you were never the only one. Maybe you were just the most useful one. Machiavelli wrote that when a ruler is no longer useful, they are replaced, quietly, efficiently, without warning. And in that moment, it's not just your heart breaking, it's your pride, your identity, your sense of logic. You gave everything, emotionally, mentally, maybe even financially, and yet you were just one part of a bigger plan you never saw coming. But here's the twist. The conflict isn't just between you and her, it's now inside of you. Because even with everything unraveling, there's still a part of you that wants to believe the lie. That maybe you misunderstood. That maybe if you just talk to her, maybe if you just explain how much this is hurting you, she'll change. But deep down, you know, this isn't a misunderstanding. This was a design. And that's when the fear creeps in. Not fear of losing her, but fear of facing the truth. That you let it go this far, that you ignored the signs, that you betrayed your own intuition. This is the part Machiavelli was warning about all along. Not just the power others can wield over us, but the power we give them by not knowing our own worth, by confusing manipulation with love, by thinking loyalty means staying even when it's destroying you. And just when you think it can't go any deeper, just when you think you've hit bottom, something else surfaces, something she says, a name you didn't expect, a plan you were never told about, and suddenly this wasn't just emotional control anymore. It was something far more calculated, and that's when the real game begins. You confront her, not with anger, not with shouting, just quiet truth. You ask the one question that leaves no room for games. Was there ever a moment you weren't playing me? And for the first time, she doesn't answer right away. She just stares, cold, calm. Then she says something that shakes you more than any fight could. I gave you what you needed. You just thought it meant something more. In that moment, everything clicks. You see it all clearly. The compliments tailored to your insecurities, the moments of affection always followed by withdrawal, the sudden warmth when she sensed you slipping away. It was never random. It was never chaotic. It was power, cold, calculated, psychological control dressed up as love. And still, a part of you wants to break down, but instead, you walk away. Not because you're finally strong, but because you've run out of excuses. That version of you, the one who needed her approval to feel like a man, dies right there. You don't say anything poetic. You don't get closure. You just leave. But just when you think it's over, the final twist hits. Months pass. You're rebuilding, finding yourself again. You've read books, hit the gym, talked to people you pushed away. You're stronger, sharper. But then, out of nowhere, you see her again. She smiles. That same smile, and beside her, a man, younger, confident. You see him laugh at her joke the way you used to. You notice how she leans in just enough to make him feel chosen. And it all hits you. It wasn't just about you. It was never personal. You weren't the first. You won't be the last. But now you're different. Because Machiavelli's truth finally sunk in. Not every threat wears armor. Some wear perfume and promises. And the most dangerous ones don't destroy you with hate. They destroy you with love that was never real. You don't look back. You don't need to. Because now you understand the game. And this time, you're not playing it. You walk away with nothing in your hands, but everything in your heart. Not revenge, not resentment, just clarity. And that clarity is heavier than anger, but it sets you free. For the first time in a long time, you're not chasing anyone. You're not waiting for a message, not reading into silence, not trying to decode someone else's emotions. You're just breathing. Finally. The story doesn't end with you winning her back. It ends with you winning yourself back. You realize what you went through wasn't about her alone. It was about a part of you that believed love had to be earned by suffering, that to be chosen, you had to give more than you had, even if it meant losing your peace. But Machiavelli's darkest truth was never just about politics or manipulation. It was about understanding how easily power shifts when you don't know your worth, when you let someone else define your value, even in relationships. You learn to forgive, not her, but yourself, for staying too long, for ignoring your gut, for mistaking intensity for intimacy. Because now, when you look in the mirror, you no longer see a man waiting to be rescued. You see someone who walked through fire and didn't burn. He learned, and that's the lesson so many men never speak about. Some women, not all, but some, will play on your loyalty, test your silence, and shape your weakness into their advantage, not because they're evil, but because they can. Power isn't always taken. It's often handed over quietly in exchange for love that looks beautiful on the surface, but leaves you starving underneath. So when she walks past you again, maybe one day down another street, and her eyes search yours for a flicker of regret, there won't be any. Because your story didn't end with her. It started after her, and that's the truth every man must come to learn. Not all heartbreaks are curses. Some are the beginning of becoming the man you were always meant to be. Thank you for watching Power to Unlocked. This was Machiavelli's shocking dark truth about some women that men must know. Until next time, stay awake, stay wise.